Trump threatens to withhold Michigan funding after state's decision to mail absentee ballot applications. Wait until he hears about how Colorado votes. Breaking: Michigan sends absentee ballots to 7 million people ahead of primaries and the general election. This was done illegally and without authorization by a rogue Secretary of State. I will ask to hold up funding to Michigan if they want to go down this voter fraud path. These are applications, not ballots. They are being sent to people that are already registered to vote, and these applications can be downloaded online by people visiting the Michigan government website. Straight up voter suppression from the White House. Democrats during impeachment. Imagine a scenario where Trump threatens to withhold federal disaster funding from a state unless they give him what he wants. Republicans: that's a ridiculous straw man argument. The call was perfect. Acquit. Acquit. Headline: 6 months later, Trump threatens to withhold federal disaster funding from a state unless they give him what he wants. Edit: thank you to the user who posted the link to the video. Fucking hell, how does he still have supporters? They just had a flood too, right? States fucking rights my ass. This was done without authorization. Hate to break it to you, but the Michigan Secretary of State doesn't work for you. She needs your authorization to do this just as much as she needs your authorization to pick what to eat for dinner, that is to say, none at all. Also, what funding is he threatening to hold up? I thought he was refusing to provide bailout funding in the first place. Oh, no, we'll miss out on a bag of zeros. Edit: first gold. Thank you, kind internet stranger. He better do the same for Florida then, since anybody registered can request an absentee ballot. Along with 27 other states that don't require an excuses. If it's good enough for our military and our president, why can't everybody else do it? Georgia mailed absentee ballot applications 3 weeks ago. Amazing that Trump made no such threat here. You hear that, Michigan voters? Remember this when you vote in November. Edit: in case it wasn't clear, vote for Biden. Friendly reminder that Trump votes absentee. Susan Collins is disturbed. Let me get this straight: the President of the United States is threatening a state for empowering its citizens to vote? Unfucking real. Party of states' rights? Yeah, right. Trump does not want people to be able to vote in an election. How very un-American. If you don't want full-blown fascism in America instead of this fascism with training wheels like we have now, then please vote and bring all your friends to vote too. Watch him send out tanks and block the post offices. Fuck this detestable turd. Michigan voters passed any reason absentee voting in 2018, so perfectly legal. And the AG is using money from the CARES Act to cover the filing cost. Maybe he would relent if the mailing was being done by a small startup that only has 2 employees and the owner donates to his campaign fund. So the federal government is interfering in the state's handling of the elections, which is the state's duty? If you support Trump, please take a moment to consider how incredibly illegal this is. This endangers the republic substantially more than, say, repealing the Second Amendment, which would be equally fucked up. If you really believe in American freedom, then you need to oppose this. Not only is he afraid that more Dems will be able to vote because they can't suppress the vote by reducing polling stations, but his precious Ivanka has patents on voting machines, and imagine the $dollar lost by using mail. States' rights? States' rights? States' rights? Until you do something we don't like, then fuck you. Word for word conversion at our radio tower in Michigan. Paul: hey guys, our state is underwater, but Trump is threatening to withhold support from the federal government. Joe: why would Nancy do that? It doesn't seem right. Paul: oh, it's because we are making it easier and safer for everyone to vote by offering mail-in ballots. 2 completely separate things that have no correlation with each other. Trump tweeted it, not Nancy. Joe: well, funding has dried up most likely. The president has done all he can. Plus, I like going to the booth, it's tradition. I walked out of the room. Actual question: does POTUS even have the power to cut funding from a state? I thought there were rulings/laws that prevented that. When the people vote, Donald Trump loses. Remember, it's second term or prison term, as Chris Matthews said. There's a reason why Trump is terrified and lashing out. It's not like we are suffering from one of the worst outbreaks and at the same time a part of the state is drowning in 9-foot deep water because 4 dams broke. It's not like every piece of legislation the governor wants to pass to protect us from coronavirus can't get through the House or Senate because of gerrymandering. That's okay, we don't need any funds. Unrelated, I wonder if the Canadians have room for another province. He's going to use the mail-in ballots as an excuse as to why the election was rigged and then fight it in court. If a Democrat did one of any 30,000 things Trump has done, but let's talk about this one. He is publicly threatening a state to extort favor for his re-election campaign. He is trying to withhold funding to a state to extort favor, hey remember Ukraine, over his re-election campaign. He is against mail-in ballots even though he uses it and it works fine, because again he's trying to use the apparatus of government to simply do whatever he wants. Where's the fucking justice system? This guy has been off the rails for years. Texas too, don't forget them. Fuck Trump, fuck the GOP and fuck any voter that drops a ballot for any one of these enemies of freedom. The President of the United States of America, the land that has beat its chest for at least a half-century or more about being a democracy, is trying to kill democracy, with the full support of Republicans and their voters. Thank God the headline got the story right. Trump threatens to withhold Michigan funding after state's decision to mail absentee ballot applications. The Trump tweet suggests, oops, that the people of Michigan got mailed absentee ballots. He would rather kill you than lose. This is what tyranny looks like. WTF, I hate states' rights now? Trump voters, probably. This is literally election interference. The federal government cannot tell states how to conduct elections. Impeach him again. Article 1, Section 4, of the Constitution of the United States of America. The times, places, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state. Meanwhile, Colorado mails the actual ballot to everyone every year. Without problem, woman shrugging. I hope everybody realizes that at a certain point he's going to realize he has no chance of winning and then he'll try to call off the election entirely. Flint residents, to other MI cities, you guys were getting paid. Because that's not transparently corrupt or anything. Explain this one, Republicans. Didn't Texas allow something similar? Okay, I live in Florida and got my absentee ballot. Why isn't shitfuck bitching about that? Oh yeah, because he's a fucking moron. Can we just all admit now that the GOP under Trump hates democracy and loves voter suppression? I mean, they have been at it in the South for several decades, but fake voter fraud and outright voter suppression through registration purges appear to be ingrained in Republican dogma now. Reminds me of countries run by despots where you only get to vote if you are a member of the ruling party. This fucking bullshit needs to be actionable. You cannot fight the fucking states. We're a fucking union, you trash. He should be impeached for this alone. What kind of ridiculous country do we live in? There's a global pandemic, yet the president is threatening to cut funding to states that allow mail-in voting. He's the worst leader our country has ever had, a manifestation of all of the worst stereotypes about Americans, a complete and total embarrassment. Everyone, most Republicans included, will be better off when he's out of government and ignored.